The bad side is there's a lot of rejection with what you do. It's not so bad for kids because you don't usually depend on it financially. It's more of a fun thing. As an adult, I don't know how some adults do it. Some struggling, starving adult actors.
If they need to make a house payment or something like that,
I don't know how they do it because it's not very stable. It's not secure. But if you're a kid, it just, the downside is not always getting it. It becomes like a competition, but then again, if you were in high school, you'd be competing for a cheerleader, and sometimes you wouldn't make, you know, cheerleader. So it's the same thing. It's the rejection.
How do you feel? You've been rejected for parts. You haven't gotten everything.
Oh my gosh. Yes. I mean, I went on 3 interviews a day, and if you got 1 interview out of 50, I mean, you know, it just depends. And sometimes when it rains, it snows. Sometimes I'll get 5 different parts at one time. And then I'll go for 3 months and not get anything. It just depends.
Did you expect to get the next thing? Because you got the first thing easily. Was the next one, did you think you were going to just breeze through that?
Oh,
then,
yeah.
So what happened when they said no?
I kind of went, what? But I was 7, so, you know, it was just like, oh, okay, what's next? You know, I didn't know to be nervous, first of all. I didn't know what to expect. And it was just kind of a fun thing. And if I got it, hey, yeah, I got it. You know, my mom would tell me if I got, when I went out for commercials, if I got a part, I could get a new outfit. You know, it was just like, okay, I'm going to get the new outfit. You know, it just, so it's more of a, it has to be fun or else it's not worth it.
You have a very mature and healthy attitude about this business. Not people that have been in it for a lot longer than you don't have this kind of outlook. They take it very seriously.
Yeah.
To whom do you attribute that?
My family.
To your family.
I think that my security in myself and in what I do. And if I had to quit acting tomorrow, no big deal. I still have high school. I have my family who, they've always supported me no matter what. And my mom has always been there with me every single second from the first interview until now. She's always with me on the set.
It's true that that no child actor makes it alone. It's really a partnership between parent and child. And here's the second half of Kellie's partnership, her mom, Debbie Martin. Hi, Debbie, welcome. Nice to have you. Now, tell us how involved you are in your daughter's career.
Well, I go with her every day, all the time, take her on interviews. After school, when she interviewed, she would go to school, we'd pick her up and go into L.A. because we lived about an hour outside of L.A. And so I'm just always with her.
Were you working, when she started acting, you were working, right?
Yes, when she started at 7, I taught school, and because I did, I got out of school about the time she got out of school, so I would pick her up after work, and we would go in if she had an interview. When she was little, she probably only went into town maybe 3 days a week. And sometimes we'd take my younger daughter, and you'd go on interviews, and you'd have dinner. She made a lot of friends, so you'd meet her friends, and they'd go for dinner afterwards, and it would be fun. And when she did commercials for the first about 3 years, it was just that. We'd go after school, and maybe she'd work. She did maybe 8 or 10 commercials a year, so I would just miss work.
But now that she's working on a series, are you there all the time?
All the time. Probably when she was about 10 or 11 and she started working on movies of the week and things like that, where she would work a month at a time, then I had to quit work.
Is it the law? Do you have to be there if she's under 16?
A parent or guardian. You can appoint somebody or have someone else take them, which a lot of people have to do because they have more than one child working, or a lot of people don't quit their jobs. They don't.
So you quit your job to be there full time, right?
Right.
I'm so glad she has been, because there's a lot that goes on that, I mean, it is a business, and you kind of can get shoved aside, and so you have to have someone looking out for you. Even now, I mean, the older I get, the more I have to deal with, so sometimes the more I need her there.
Oh, you're very lucky, sure.
Yeah,
it's very hard because she has to go to school on the set at least 3 hours a day, and she has to work. She really can't handle any of the peripheral things that go on. There's just no time. She couldn't do it all.
So you're there all day long on the set. What do you do? Is it boring for
Actually,
you?
while she's done the series, there's always a million things to do because there's always things to plan and things that she will be doing and all the upcoming things. So it's not at all boring. When she used to do things maybe just a week at a time, and I was just going with her, I would just take books and read or do whatever.
Or she watches my scenes, and
well, I would always
after a scene.
And criticize?
No, but never criticism, always something like, well, you did this before, you could, you know, you should have done that, or it's, she watches me and I'll look up afterwards and she'll say yes, or she'll say, tell them to do it again. I mean, no, she's always there, so, and I trust her. And if she tells me that was really, really good, I know, wow, I just did the best job of my life. Because she won't always say, yeah, that was wonderful. She won't always do that unless it is.
Do you kind of look to her now when you're done? Do you kind of look and say, well, I wonder what Mom said?
But, yeah.
When we come back, you're going to meet an acting coach who sees rejection every single day and is going to talk about it in just a moment. And our next guest, who is one of Hollywood's top acting coaches for children. He's trained kids for dozens of films and pilots and series, including Roseanne, Davis Rules, The Wonder Years, and Disney's Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. And he says making it as a child star is like winning the lottery. The odds are 1,000,000 to 1. Welcome, Gary Spatz. You know, Kellie was talking about rejection, and just confirm, if you would, that there is a lot of rejection. For every part that gets done, a lot of kids get a no.
Yes, for every one that you see like Kellie, you know, there's, you know, half a dozen to a dozen kids who got turned down for that particular role, who might have all been terrific actors, but for one reason or another, they didn't get the part. And it happens a lot, more often than people realize.
And it's not necessarily that she was more talented than they were, right? It could be different color hair.
I mean, there's so many things that go into the equation when they start casting something. Someone's height, or the number of freckles on their face, or they don't conform to like what the mother looks like. They've already cast a mother for the show, and she doesn't quite fit into...
Oh, the mother's blonde and the kid's dark, and they don't look like they belong together.
Exactly.
One reason why I've been lucky is because I'm very neutral looking. I mean, I've got brown hair, I can go either way, so I fit into a family. If you have like really dark hair, then you can, you know, it's harder to get apart.
If you're very ethnic, then if they're looking for that kind of ethnic family. And sometimes they just change genders. I've known of pilots where they've had 2 boys and a girl, and all of a sudden decided, like in Davis Rules, the pilot for that one, they had a girl as one of the children on the show, and then they decided, no, let's go with 3 boys. And so that girl who they brought in, who had the part, was an excellent young actress, was taken out of the second pilot they shot for.
So you're saying you can actually get the job and think you have it and call all your friends and say you got it, and then it goes away?
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Or you know what else can happen? You can get cut out. Like of a movie. I did a movie, and I had like 3 scenes. I watched the movie, and I had 1 line. I mean, you know, you never know. And most of my friends, at one time or another, have gotten the part, and the 3rd day, they just decided, you know, it didn't work out. That almost happened to me. I was too small, they decided. And I almost lost it, but they kept me in the end.
How tall are you?
I'm almost 5'3". So I'm really tiny.
Yeah.
But, you know, it just happens. And you can't take it personally.
Yeah, it's part of the business, and a lot of movies will get cast, and maybe they bring in a new director because the other director didn't work out, and he's got his own idea of how he wants to film cast, and so they let go all the actors they already had cast, and that's happened in a number of movies. And
how do kids, as a rule, handle that? Is it tougher or easier because they're young? I would think it'd be tougher.
In some respects, I think it's easier for the child. It might be more difficult for the parents sometimes to deal with the fact that their kid didn't get the role. If it's a well-adjusted boy, he'll just go out and play baseball maybe and forget about it.
Yeah. Yeah, you have a question?
You were saying you had a sister, and if your mother's always on the set, what about your sister then?
My sister's name is Heather, and she's 13. And I've worked ever since I was 7, so she was about 4 when I started. And it hasn't been easy. Heather really has given up a lot, but I think somehow we managed to balance it. My mom is there for her.
I don't think it's any different than any other working mother. Most of the time we go home every night and we're a family. I have to have somebody come in and take care of her. So
does she get, but you spend a lot more time with...
I do end up spending, especially since Life Goes On started. Before that, it was just days here and there or a week here, and then we'd be home for 2 or 3 months, which was always the other option to say, but look at all the time I am home in between. That's probably been the hardest thing in our family. I feel very guilty half the time about how she feels.
Does she want to be in the business too, do you think?
No, not really.
She doesn't? Yes, good.
I think it's great that your mom's there for you, but what about when you have kissing scenes, like when you had to kiss that guy?
Can I just tell you, oh my gosh, when I was 13, they wrote this kissing scene for me. My first kiss ever in my life, and it was in front of so many people, and my mom was there. And she was completely cool about it. He was 23 too, so.
Oh, mother!
Really, I mean, I saw her when I was kissing him like that. But she's completely cool about it.
Yeah, that's what you say. That's what you say.
Cool. No, he can't come to the set. And he goes up and interrogates these actors before they kiss me. So my mom's completely cool about it.
We have to send the makeup people in as they do her touch-ups to tell her what she wasn't doing right or what she was doing.
Well, she'll tell me, she'll say, oh, Kellie, go for it more. I'll say, we're holding it, go for it. No, she's very cool about it.
We have lots more audience questions for you, and I also want to talk about, when we come back, about how much money is involved, if we can, and what happens to the money also in just a moment.
My mom is in charge of this department.
Sure, there's a lot of money involved. I think it sounds to people like maybe a lot more than really actually hits you.
What happens to it?
Okay, commercials, children's money, there is a Coogan law in California, I know, and I don't know if it's here, that 25% of their income goes into a trust account. But that's only in contracted work, so that's only for a series or for a movie for a big studio. And so then 25% of their money from that is put into there. 10% of the money that they earn goes to their agent. If they have a manager, 15% of the money goes to the manager. And if they put 25 into trust and the government takes their 40-some%, if they do that, then you don't really have a lot of extra money that comes home. Commercials, the money does not go into trust. So that amount of money that the manager and the agent and the government doesn't take comes to the home to be spent as you see fit, whether you're putting it in an account or whether you're using it for expenses.
So do you give her an allowance or what?
Actually, Kelly doesn't really get an allowance. She just spends the money she needs to spend.
Yeah, and my trust account, that's my college. My college, I'm so lucky. I will basically, if I get in, be able to go wherever I want because I do have a trust account.
Okay, what's your question? And before we finish up, give us one last word. I'm going to go this way. I'll start with you, Kelly. To kids, just a little realism for kids that might be wanting to do this.
I think the bottom line is you have to love it. You have to love acting and you have to love working, and it just has to be so much fun, and when it's not fun anymore, that's when you can't do it.
Okay, how about you, Debbie?
As a parent, I mean, like we were just saying, I don't think you could make your kids do it. If they want to do it and they love it, it's fun. It's a lot of time they spend doing that, so they have to be willing, they have to really want to do it. And if they don't want to do it, you can't take them and make them do it.
And you have to be willing to give up your time as well.
You do.
As a
Somebody
parent.
has to drive them and be with them and take care of them, because really once they get there, nobody's there for them. If you're not there, they don't get that attention.
Gary, a realistic last word from our acting coach.
The odds, you're seeing the 1% up here with Kelly. Most kids do not make it in the business. But it all comes down to when luck is when opportunity meets preparation. If this is something you really, truly want to do, you have to be incredibly committed and have a great deal of passion for it.
You know, it's funny you said that because I was in a comedy club one night when I was doing stand-up comedy, and Lee Majors was there. And he told us, the comics, he said, if I had a choice, I'd rather be lucky than talented, because luck has a lot to do with it. They always say being in the right place at the right time. So I agree absolutely with what you said, and I thank you all very much for coming on today, and we'll be right back.